first, and thank you for coming over and coming through the cold weather, which is, I think is good for us. Many teachings behind that too, so, but I just want to say thank you for everyone for showing up today and getting here safe, so. But before we get started, before I call the meeting order, I gave a little same on to Merlin to say some kind words and a prayer for us, so be good. Language, Merlin. Okay, we'll get the meeting started. We'll call the meeting to order. It is 10:12 a.m. Michael, do you want to do the roll call, please? District 1?
Here.
District 2?
Here.
District 3?
Here.
And I'm here, Chairman. We have a quorum, Miigwech. Next up is review and approve of the agenda. I guess the one thing I have is addition to our consent agenda. It's on the Jacob MacArthur from administration, $10,000. We expand White Tribal Community College Library Services will be I think the fiscal agent. Jake, is that what it was?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have one subtraction and one addition. I was asked to pull the letter of support for the consent agenda. I'd like to have that one pulled. Oh, sorry. Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have one addition, one subtraction from the consent agenda. I was asked to pull the letter of support from the consent agenda, and I'd like to have a motion added to provide signing authority for an affidavit for the Bushell property. Those are my additions and subtractions.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, if we could table the ICW one, because I didn't have a chance to read it yet thoroughly, so.
Yes, I think we can have Antonio send out the email with the bylaws and of the ICW commission.
Okay, good.
What's that?
Not on here.
What capacity are you here with you?
Every month, we were on the agenda to report. We're not on here.
Oh, we're doing those quarterly, aren't we?
Chairman, can I answer that question?
Do you mind having a community council, since you're here, add them to the agenda?
I have no problem.
Okay, we'll add you. We'll add Natowash Community Council.
Thank you. Thank you, Tara.
Any other additions or?
Yeah, I'd like to address the council on a threat. Peerbo's Ranch.
Ben, I know we talked about that before. Can you get us something in writing about that? We would read it and address it to you, but we need a letter from your concerns to us in writing.
Okay.
Okay, does that work?
Yeah.
Because we'll add you to the meeting when you get it, the letter to us, and we review it, that we'll have you come in and talk about your concerns with them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Miigwech. Motion to approve the agenda with the changes.
Motion.
Motion by Michael,
Second.
second by Eugene. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Next up is review and approval of the meeting minutes for 1/25/23. As the council reviews these, and what I want to kind of tell everyone too is like, we've been super busy. I've been to a lot of state, up to the Capitol. We have a lot of things up at the Capitol right now in Minnesota. We have our cannabis provisions in there. And then one of the big things too that I'm really, I guess me and Eugene, is the $30 million community health building in Monoman. That's one thing that we're really pushing hard, and it looks good for us. We have the police,
Concurrent state jurisdiction.
concurrent state
Legislation.
and legislation. Yeah, it's something that I think that is really important for us too with that when it comes to our policing. So we have some really good bills going on at the Capitol right now, which we're all following, and I'll be down there next week again. I think next Wednesday or Thursday, and then also the sports book too, that got introduced here last week. We actually have a meeting today at 1 o'clock with MIGA. So we have a lot of things going on. And at the federal level, I know that we just confirmed a meeting with Tamarack National Refuge, their staff over at the local level here. We're gonna meet with them in a few weeks. And then I know when we're out in DC here in the end of March, I'll be meeting with Department of Interior and meeting with the higher uppers of Fish and Wildlife, because they sit under the Department of Interior too. So we're really doing those ongoing talks and discussions about when does White Earth get our land back at Tamarack. So it's something that I'm really, really kind of happy to put out there too, that we are going down that path. So that's one part. And I know the other one is the CP merger with Canadian Pacific merger with Kansas City Railroad Company. And those are ongoing things that we're talking to them about, how that's gonna affect our activity that goes back and forth from north to south on that railroad line there. Because, we've seen a lot of different accidents that occurred on that strip. So we just, those are things that we're addressing, not only at the state level, but the federal level too. So some good things going on, so.
Okay, we have you gentlemen, go ahead and use it, this microphone is dead.
Can we make a revision to the minutes, I guess, on page 2, under District 2 update, it says strengthening methodology, it should say strengthening MIFPA, MIFPA, Minnesota Indian Family Preservation Act.
Okay, you get that noted?
Yep.
Marion?
And Mr. Chairman, on page 2 in the, it's Michael LaRock stuff, it said on sports betting, it says betting, not betting.
Oh, betting. Need that too, need that too.
And on page 8 of 8, just in paragraph 3, we just gotta put an M after, needs to follow them, not needs to follow them.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes for 1/25/23.
Motion.
Motion by Eugene,
Second.
second by Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next up is the Elders Council. Any report from the Elders Council? Well, you can do it next month. You want to do it next month? Or you have any updates at all?
I have a little bit, yeah.
Okay. We have to get her a mic. Thank you, miss.
Hello, Missy Fairbanks, Waiters, Council of Elders Secretary. This is a total surprise. Tito has been out sick, hasn't let me know. Sam is not here, so I guess I'll step up. We have been meeting with Mike on the bus issue. We had to redo a plan on that to revamp and take out the phone chargers so that we can get the bus sooner. We've had to go from the original bus plan, which would take, because of the chips and everything, that would take it clear into next year again. So we've got a bus that's coming in a few months. That is, I think it was cost $196,000 roughly, and I think that's a little bit more than it was originally. We're waiting to meet with Laura York and Curtis Rogers. We've had to reschedule that, go over the IHS issues that they were asking us about. And that's pretty much, that was an executive meeting that was called. But we will restart our meetings on April 4th, and hopefully we're gonna do that in Natowash if they are up and running by then. And that's all I pretty much know.
Thank you, miss.
Somebody run and get batteries.
Big Witch, thank you, Missy, for that report. Next up is the Elders Commission.
Thomas.
Well, you can go back. Yeah, we're just getting batteries for this one.
Okay.
Batteries? All right, we'll get some batteries.
Here, let me get a call. Here. Call and get something set up.
Okay, got you.
I'm Pam Aspinall of the Whiters Elders Commission, and we also have Emily, Annette, and Tony Visner, who are also members of our commission. And I just wanted to make a brief, a verbal progress report of what we've been doing. We've been meeting for 4 months. And so just briefly, I wanted to say that, you know, we were established to provide advice and recommendations on the various services that are provided to the elders. And so, you know, just getting started, we are making our move to at least listen to and make a formal report to you. And I did actually send a note to Aisha to try to figure out, you know, who or when, or, you know, when we should, when you would expect that, so that we could provide that. But as an example, I would say that, you know, we talked about PCA issue. And we realized that it's up to the elders to request that. You know, it's at their discretion, that, you know, none of us can make that decision for the elders. But there are different levels of care for a person in the home, either medically, more medical issues, as opposed to general housekeeping or those kinds of things. And what would be required is that the elder would go through an assessment and then be provided these services of a PCA or help through an outside agency. And so we're just, and actually, I think we asked, what was the name of that place, that hub that's going to put some, the Disability Hub. We'll be putting something in the Anishinaabe about that to explain more about the process and how that's done. The other thing is that we've also talked about informally within our group about general health care and physical activity. And so different levels of those who might need some help and assistance of maybe doing like chair yoga or exercises in the home versus outside activities. Because, you know, we have elders who are just joining elderhood and still running around and playing basketball or, you know, and then we have others who need a little bit more. I want to do pickleball. So,
There you go.
yeah, so we're just exploring ways that we can engage our elders in physical health and using the fitness centers. But those are just a couple of the things that we've been discussing, and we, you know, want to get that progress report to you. And I want to say that we've gotten some good financial information from the finance department about charges to our budget, which is really nice. And then, again, Aisha for sure has been a good go-to person to direct us to the people that we need to speak with. So thank you, Miigwech, for allowing us this time.
Thank you.
Miigwech, Pam, thank you for that report, and the elders are always welcome to our council meeting, just like all the other members are too, so. Next up is Natowash Community Council.
Karen, do you want to get done? Karen. Michelle.
Hi, Cheryl.
Pam, would you do some? Oh.
Who's you?
Bonjour. Dear Reservation Business Committee, the Natowash Community Council has been busy since the last time we reported. In December, we served over 550 youth for the White Earth Toy Program. We would like to thank you for the ability to purchase toys for children. NCC is requesting the amount is increased next year. Once more, inflation is affecting what we can purchase for the children. NCC held Santa Day in December as well. It was well attended. NCC is appreciative of our Santa. He does a great job and everyone feels welcome and happy to see him. We seem to have had some communication issues as we were told to submit requests for assistance, but didn't hear back from the designated administration, and our village didn't receive any support for our party. But we did make it happen, just offering a little less to our children. We collaborated with the Natowash Community Charter School for book bingo during their awards banquet. NCC will hold additional book bingos in the future and looks forward to continued partnership with the charter school. They are seeing a lot of academic progress with the students. In January, we hosted storytelling in partnership with Manitowo Gitagon, a nonprofit out of Panema. Manitowo Gitagon has been a great support of NCC and members of our community. NCC has been blessed with people and an organization who has anonymously donated $300 to date for our community giveaway. Our village members nominate members and explain why they deserve to win. It is really amazing to see so many people say positive and meaningful things about each other. We are always taking donations, and it does not need to be anonymous if you would like acknowledgement. We also started sewing in partnership with the Rise Coalition. We sew 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays are open to the community and everyone and anyone who wants to attend. And Thursdays are designated for elders. We are still working on the elder sewing trip and we will have this accomplished by April. In the month of February, we started beading nights. Our partner is the Monoman Natowash Community Charter School Johnson O'Malley Indian Parent Committee. We have also received much needed donations to make this happen. NCC has submitted our draft calendar. We are still in the process of approving our 2023 budget and calendar. We will make sure we have this sent as soon as it is approved. We continue to work on our 501c3, and we will start strategic planning in the spring to ensure our village members give NCC the direction we need to accomplish meaningful initiatives in Natowash. Again, the Natowash Community Council has a number of people who have donated and thought of us. NCC is very grateful for everyone who has donated to strengthening our community. Requests. New community center. Can we please set a date and time to discuss the next steps? Next bullet is, it was stated by our district rep at the last meeting we attended that the Boys and Girls Club director did not know we were in partnership with him for the Valley Fair trip. In the past, NCC has worked directly with the unit lead, as this seems to have been a concern, and are we to collaborate directly with the Boys and Girls Club director? We found it easier to collaborate at the unit level. NCC has not spoken to the Boys and Girls Club nor partnered on anything for youth because we are unsure of how you would like our communication and planning to happen. Is there a direction, or should we wait to hear back on how we want to plan and work with?
On the Boys and Girls Club?
Yeah.
Well, we started the YCI meetings back up, and I see that you want, I'm reading the thing, I see that you want to be included in that. I'll make sure to tell Carol to include you guys in there.
Okay, but as far as like when we plan and we do youth activities, I know the concern last time was that when we were talking about, because we were talking to the unit lead about the Valley Fair trip, and I know it was a concern that the director didn't know. So how do you want us to proceed with that collaboration?
Attend the YCI meetings, and if you wanna do any kind of events that should be in your event calendar that you submit to us for your budget.
Okay. NCC would like to be invited to the youth meetings, and I think that's just exactly what you're kind of mentioning.
Derek, can I make a comment? Just with the Boys and Girls Club thing, when you deal with the lead, I think there's oftentimes that maybe the lead didn't collaborate with the director maybe, and so I mean, I guess the only answer to that would be is to make sure when you do talk to the unit lead, to make sure that they kind of are communicating with the other ones, because I think the reason why we brought that up is because we didn't want two entities doing the same thing. We wanted to collaborate together. I think that was the reason why we did that. So that's why we said, well, we would want you to maybe notify the director, or even with these youth meetings, I think that'll take care of most of it. So you'll be able to be on the same page.
Okay, thank you, because I think that's one of the things is we just want clarification on moving forward. And I know we've asked in the past to attend those meetings, but we've never been invited. So, lighting and street signage for the junction of the Workforce Center Road and County Road 4. The intersection is dangerous, and we will, and we also continue to need signage for the water tower project. So that's ongoing. So I just want to kind of elaborate a little bit on the Workforce Center Road and County Road 4. I'm not sure if that's a county issue, but there's no signage on the road. There's somebody spray painted a little sign, stuck it in the ditch. So it's really dark at night. It's really dark on that stretch. And we'd really appreciate some safety, lighting, and some street signs.
There'd be other DOT. Oh, get that safe streets.
Yeah, so we're actually gonna be administering a street light and sidewalk project in Natowash, and I'd have to get more info from Mike Bowman. But what he told me is that this project's it's gonna be finished by 2025 and no later than 2027, depending on the funding cycles of the DOT. So streetlights are coming, so are sidewalks.
I think that County Road 4, isn't that a county issue?
Get that special funding through DOT, we can speed it up. Because we're in talks with DOT on special funding, so.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to Bowman about it. He'd be the expert on it.
Okay, because I think the county is responsible for lighting their intersections. And so if we could have that support, because they should also do 4 at the stop sign on the loop. And the thing is too, is there gonna be planning meetings then for that safe trails or whatever funding?
Safe streets. Yes.
Okay,
We can invite a representative from NCC to that meeting.
because we have a lot of concerns, and I know we've been bringing up lighting, because really, we didn't even include it on this, and this would be a sole tribal lighting issue, is going down from the skate park down to, Alvarado's down there, down at the corner, where you turn to the village store. That is completely dark, and our people are walking, I don't know how many times people have almost been hit, and every year we've had somebody being life flighted.
But there, from what I recall, Bowman, that's gonna be one of the first phases of the lighting and sidewalk project, so it's gonna be addressed. Like I said, I can take all the stuff that all your concerns, and I could reach out to our divisional directors and I can get you an update, okay?
Okay, and we'd be more than happy to be invited to any meetings. So we would appreciate that. Again, we're requesting to be invited. The dog issue is not being addressed. Over the past weekend, 3 people were bitten by dogs on 3 different occasions. Eventually, we will lose someone or a child. So, and this is one of the things, it wasn't just a dog bite. You know, we had to have somebody jump out of their truck and beat a pit bull off of somebody. And we're seeing nothing move forward, and we're not hearing anything from anybody. And I don't know what else to do. I don't know what to do.
Here, I'll look into that. I'll talk to Clifford Jackson, and I'll look into it now. And anytime some calls come out, if there's an issue, you guys have my phone, you can give me a call anytime. I didn't know that the dog here, some of the kids got attacked, but I'll look into it and get back to you.
Okay.
Also, we're looking at, as a council here, I'm gonna be discussing with them some future funding for Missy's program as far as like some kennels and stuff like that, and getting that together and getting that animal commission back up and running again, because they haven't been meeting. We gotta get them back up and running and meeting, because, and also we're looking at maybe trying to secure some more funding for a second animal control officer. We're looking at that for a second one, moving them north and south so he can spend more time in some of the communities that he has to, because right now, and Merlin will attest to this, but that animal control officer is jumping from community to community to community, and he's not enough time in a day for him to work. So I think as a council, we would sit down and talk and see if we could free up some funding to be able to work with the national animal control stuff, and let's see if they can fund us with a second animal control officer to be specific for those areas and stuff like that. So just let you know that we are looking at it.
And that's another meeting that we would like to be invited to attend, just because we do see the issues. We understand that if he goes to the door and he knocks on the door, we know when they pull in, everybody takes their dogs, brings them in the house, and that's it.
And they sit there and don't answer the door.
And so, and that's one of the things. So that ordinance is really important, and having the authority to take care of and address this issue is really important. And we know that the animal control can't do his job if we have unenforceable policies and procedures. And housing is another very important policy that needs to be addressed in their leases. And I've heard multiple things from different people, either on the housing board or housing staff, and what they're saying isn't true. They said, well, housing doesn't allow pets. They do. It's in the federal regs. So communication is really important, and how we take care of our 4-legged relatives and how we take care of our families and our children. Natowash Community Council isn't against dogs, but we are for making sure our members are safe in our village, because this is scary. It really is. Our kids should be able to walk. When I was growing up, you could walk around. You can't walk around now. Everybody walks with a stick. That ain't right. So NCC has submitted a request for funding last week. We are wondering how long is a reasonable time to wait for an answer? Is that something that's gonna come out in the new funding policy?
Who did you submit it to?
Curtis.
I sent it over to the donation committee.
I think Eugene, Curtis, Lori, I don't think I sent it to Aisha Maria.
Okay, when they've been working on the policy and procedures on that, and also the last time we had met, we had talked about kind of bottlenecking those requests. And we assigned Aisha to bottleneck those requests. So what would happen is, once Curtis and Lori get the policy and procedures done and get everything done with, because they're pushing some of that funding over to the donation committee with Gary Patitron in, they're pushing some of that over there. But that doesn't mean that we still could not bottleneck it into Aisha and have Aisha, all the community councils with their requests, they would go to Aisha. Aisha would put them where they need to go. If it's if Baber Health can pay for it, can they do that? We talked about that. So why that isn't happening, I guess we can, Curtis and them can talk about that later and find out. We need to have that done. The representatives from the community councils need to go, if they go to Curtis, Curtis would go to Aisha, and then they would put it in a place where it needs to go, and then that would be the timely manner of it being. As far as the donation committee, they meet how long? They meet when, Kurt?
Monthly.
They meet monthly, so that's gonna be a problem if they meet monthly. So that's why we said with Aisha, those requests would go directly to Aisha, and Aisha would be able to address those where they need to go. So, and I don't know if the donation committee meets, if they meet specially too, in between a month or whatever, but there's something that, there's some hiccups we need to take care of, and we'll get there, so.
Okay, well, we really appreciate that. Curtis?
I want to say, the donation committee is going to be redoing their regs too, so they meet more often, and they're going to be looking at expanding the funding if they're receiving the youth and elders, so they can cover the larger requests, especially from community councils.
Okay, so youth and elders will probably fall underneath them as well? Okay. So, here's one request, and Cindy hasn't been able to talk about this, but I'm sure it's gonna come up in our meeting, as, we're gonna request that tribal members are on the donation committee. So we think it's important that our tribal members are the ones that are delegating out the dollars. And we know that's not happening. So the other request that we had with the donation committee is that they're more flexible on funding different activities. So culture would be for culture, youth, elders are for youth and elders, and sometimes we do things for adults and there's no funding there to fund activities for adults. And so we kind of wanted to save that in case and when we have something coming up, because we want to do financial literacy. There's things on our calendar, and that's not a full calendar because we can put anything we want on our calendar, but if we can't fund it, we can't do it, you know? And that's one of the things is we don't want to say we're going to do all these things and then have absolutely nothing to be able to fund it with, you know? So that's our one concern with the donation committee.
You know, I've been asking forever about, you know, setting aside some machines up here for the 18 to 54-year-olds because we have nothing for them, you know, monetary wise, unless, you know, it's, oh. But I have asked about, is it working? Oh, yeah. But I have asked about that, Tara, you know, because I think, you know, they're the forgotten age group there and, you know, they have furnace problems, they have, you know, all kinds of problems, you know, and then we're sitting there trying to figure out where we're gonna get funding to help them, you know, so I've asked about that several times, I mean, and not only in this meeting, but also in the, with the, casino, so.
And this is another thing too, I really appreciate that, Annie, because for the simple fact is that like, just because this is what we reported isn't all that we've done. You know, we've got guys that go out and jump cars, we've got, we're putting in, elders, air conditioners in the spring. So we're always running, we've had people pulled out of ditches, we were able to collaborate with the elder, what's that program, the Elder Advocate Program, to get chimney clean, you know, and we stipend and we try to help our volunteers every time that they come. We know it's not easy, it's gas money, it's their time away from their families. And so if we have the ability, we help our volunteers when they're out helping the community. And then a lot of times our community councils ourselves are out, you know, Donnie didn't even have a truck for how long because
he broke his truck pulling people out of the ditch, you know? So like, those are the things that we face, those are the things that we deal with. And anytime we have extra funding for adults, man, we would really appreciate it, like really. Plus, we wanna have our cribbage tournaments again, you know? Plus, you know, like we wanna do fun, sober activities, which is another thing too, is behavioral health needs to be tied back to, you know, mental health, needs to be tied back to sobriety. And so there's all kinds of different things to take into consideration when we submit funding. We're very thoughtful about it, you know, we're very particular, we just don't ask to ask, you know, and we just wanna see what things happen in our community, we're all volunteers.
And we'd all agree, Tara, but, you know, when you ask for a reasonable time for a week for an answer, I mean, if there's enough time when you put in a request, I think a reasonable time, and Curtis Lori can probably take care of this, and so could Aisha. It basically, if there's enough time for us to, if you put it ahead of time enough, then you're probably gonna get an answer right away, but I mean, if it's something that comes in the day before an event, no, that's not gonna happen, we already talked about all that stuff. So I'm thinking that a reasonable time would be maybe a week for whatever, and we could maybe talk about that with, Lori and Curtis and Aisha, as when we can get back to each community council on their requests, so we're not leaving them hanging, so.
I appreciate that, because I think, and that was just one of the questions, you know, I mean, we're not here trying to be difficult, but, you know, before, the three had been on, Fairbanks knows at the start of how long we would wait for requests, and one time we went in and it did not go well for NCC, like, we got yelled at and screamed at, you know, because we came in to ask about a request. We were trying to deal with COVID. We were there, Karen and I were there every day, you know, and with no resources and no help and nobody to answer to, like, nobody would talk to us. So, that was just why, like, if we could have, once those policies come out, you know, we'd really appreciate it, you know, because then we know, and we understand, like, we don't like doing last minute things either, but if we have an opportunity that comes up, we will jump on it. And we would love to have reserves, but like, we do something 3 times a week, you know? Like, it's not like we do an event every, you know, other month. So, we would also like to have a week's notice for the RBC meetings, and I know I recognize today that, we were not scheduled to be here. We were not aware of that. And so we appreciate being put on the agenda, you know? But we asked for a week's notice, and I understand that, you know, the 2 days, but everybody else needs some time to schedule. And if we're quarterly, it would be nice. We understand that I-65 dictates the 2-day notice, we understand that. But I-65 also dictates that this meeting is held the last Friday. And if it's gonna be changed, then 2 days is not enough time for us to prepare and request time off from work and be able to attend. So that's the reason why we're asking and requesting that. And then NCC is happy to hear our district rep attends other community council meetings. We invite and encourage all RBC members to attend our regular monthly meetings the second Thursday at 6 p.m. Miigwech, NCC.
Thank you, Tara. NCC, you know, I know that, when we get that policy done, I know Curtis, hopefully that him and Lori can, we can, get a all community council meeting, and you could address it too with the new policies for the donation, so that'd be good. I think everyone would be in the loop then, so. And giving everyone a heads up, I know at the end of the month too, of March, that we're gonna be we'll also be on travel, so we will have to move it up or move it back a week, maybe in April, so, but we'll give, like you said, we'll give you ample time to prepare for our next meeting too, so. But I wanna say thank you for all the information that was given out today, so it's good that, you know, we're looking at a lot of different things that we strive towards to help our communities and improve the life of our band members on our reservation. You know, especially with the lighting, I know that we had a consultation with Minnesota Department of Transportation here a few days ago, and they talked about the pot of funds that they're getting. So they're looking at us for some of the projects that we're looking at, and I think that's one thing that we're looking at is like prioritizing the Natowash, you know, the street lights, and that's something that I think that is very important, and especially with the dog issue too. And it's not Natowash, I think it's in all of our communities that that we have some type of, ambushes that are a little meaner than other ones, so we have to address that too. So, but I want to say big wish to the community councils that, that gave us some information too, that emailed us too. And, I know that information is very, very important. So, big wish. All right, no new old business. Next up is new business. We have ratification letter to the Minnesota DNR. And this was out here a few days ago or a few weeks ago when, in Minnesota, state DNR had a comment period for us to talk about the deep water wells. I know that right now that our attorneys are working on, combating this because a lot of these farms are looking to ramp up their production, and they're putting these requests into the state of Minnesota for these deep water wells to pull up like 49 to 50 million gallons of water a year, and it's just a humongous amount of water they want to suck up for irrigation. I know there's some water wells out there, permits for even right on our border that they're looking at their capos. And those are another thing that we're taking on are the capos, and those are things that we were addressed this a few months back, and with the capo that was down in Callaway, which they stopped now, but they're moving their operation off reservation. So, but we're still taking them on as of today. We're still putting our letters, we're submitting our comments. And this is one thing I think that legislation, again, is that we need to get the governor and the lieutenant governor to realize that the tribes, the nations, we're in control of our water, not Minnesota DNR. And I think that's the big thing that we're, as a council here, that we're being advised to, take a stance on this. And this is something that we're doing today. And we have been with the previous councils too, that our water our NEB is very, very important to us. And we need to protect it. So those are some things that I wanted to bring out too, is like the ongoing litigation that we have, and also the periods, and this ratification of this letter I signed here a few days ago to get down to the commissioner of the DNR, Division of Natural Resources, that we don't want these deep water wells, and and I know there's other ones that are, one of them was for this big dairy farm that is planned east of us, and we're taking that on too. So we're doing a lot of good things here. So I want to say big wish to the staff and our legal team and also our council for being so supportive of taking a stance on this. So big wish. Tony, do we have to vote on it right here? On the ratification?
Sure, or we can do it collectively since they're just, you have two ratifications, you can probably do them both. We'll vote for two.
I gotta do them separate. But we'll ratify, I'll motion to ratify the letter that we, I'll call for a motion on that?
Yeah.
Okay, motion to approve the letter to the DNR.
Motion.
Motion by Mike.
Second.
Second by Eugene. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And did you say something?
I said aye.
Okay, because I didn't hear you. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Next up is the ratification of the PUC appointment, and that's our Public Utility Commission. I know that we had 5, and then one resigned or pulled himself off due to a conflict with some stuff, and that we did have an opening for that. And right now our tribal Public Utility Commission is meeting weekly, and with one of our contractors, Paul Thomas is educating our Tribal Utility Commission and doing a great job. I know that a lot of the energy stuff that comes to my email list, I forward on to Jacob and to the PUC and TUC, that they review it. And I know we have some things here that, that I believe this is one of the things I think it's going to be the future of us, that this board will be productive and, and planning and conducting good business with not only the utility companies around us, the broadband, even water, everything that we do, mobile, the telecom, everything is gonna be regulated through our Public Utility Commission. So it's something that we're going to,
We just gotta ratify
okay.
the officers.
Okay, so we'll ratify the officers that we have here. What the officers were to be appointed was Melinda Iverson be the chair, Jacob MacArthur be vice chair, and the terms are set for 2 years. So we need a motion on that.
Motion.
Motion by Eugene,
Second.
second by Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Miigwech. So if anyone wants to get information from our tribal Public Utility Commission, please reach out to Jacob MacArthur or also Melinda Iverson. They're two of the band members that sit on that commission. So we need more of our people, more of our members to engage into that and to learn from that, because it's really technical, and I think it's important that maybe they'll start looking at doing some informational public meetings, I think that's sort of after they get trained here, when they come around the corner here, that they'll have all these public meetings to address certain things what they want to do in the near future here. So it's looking really good. The public, I know we have other nation that's really looking at us too, and what we're doing on the progress and the progression that we've been doing with our utility commission. So I think it's really important.
I'd just like to make one comment on it. Basically with their TUC, and then I talked to Mindy a little bit about it the other day, and it just opens the door for a lot of things for our members as far as affordability and reliability of our services that we have here with our electric companies, and getting our own energy company, getting our own broadband company, getting all that stuff that helps our membership, to afford things that they need to, with their broadband, their electricity, everything like that. I think it's really moving forward, and it's really moving forward in a good way with which.
Thank you, Michael. All right, next up is, I know we have a couple of requests here for donations. I know one was denied by the donation committee because it was a single person. So, but these are things that we're looking at to, the new policies that are coming out. I know in the past that we wouldn't, give donations to individuals, but with the new policies that'll be processed, that they're looking at what we can.
We look at a scholarship fund through the casino too, remember? I mean, to help the individual. So, yeah, I've seen it now, so that's Henry's district.
Well, I think, should they all be moved to the donation committee then? We just told NCC that.
They all came in last minute here, Annie, so that's a good point. So, we could move these two requests to the committee.
But these are coming up fast. They're
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
Council, what do you suggest?
I'd want to move on the request from Lenome and Wobbin schools.
Okay. The Dorito one, do you want to
No.
table?
No.
Okay.
Any-
Henry, what do you want to do with the Rita one?
Competition.
When is that one?
It's next week.
They should be able to take care of it with donations,
Kurt? No, they're gonna meet.
Was that the one that was denied because it was a single?
Yeah.
So that one was denied because they haven't, changed their rules yet, so if you guys wanna approve the single one from the Rita Swenson one?
It's up to you, Henry.
Rita Swenson.
What do you think, Hank?
Well, if it was denied there, I guess.
Well, is it just for her, or was it
You're
for
welcome.
kids?
No, it's number of individuals being assisted would be 3. 3 individuals.
Because I think we do up to 1,000 anyway, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's capped at 1,000.
Yeah, we capped ours at 1,000.
For 3 individuals though, and it's for a state, I'm assuming it's a
Robotic
state.
state.
It's probably a deep event.
But no, is it fair to NCC then if we approve these ones and send the rest to the committee? I don't understand, we're kind of doing 2 different things. Because, okay, Swenson was already denied through the donation committee, right? now we wanna move on to the Monoman School one. Now, I understand it might be time sensitive, but they asked for money too, and we told them they gotta go through the donation committee, so are we gonna do that? Are we just gonna make exceptions for some, or, I don't know. I guess
That's a good
I
point.
have a
I
question.
think, well, but they were denied, but they did go through the donation committee. And they were denied.
Where's
Natowash? Oh, this one.
No,
Oh.
this one, so the Monoman one came in on Wednesday after we had our donations committee meeting. And we meet on the 21st of every month. Probably 3 hours after we had our meeting. So that's why that one didn't go through us. Otherwise it would have if she put it in at a earlier date.
Annie, this one did go through the donation committee,
Yeah, it was denied, so why is it coming back to us then?
because it was denied.
Well, it went through, did we give it to the donation committee so they could handle it? I mean, that's why, the whole reason we were putting it over to the donation committee so that it didn't come through us, right?
And that's why we were bottlenecking it through her to be able to find out where it could be addressed at, because in my opinion, this is a big deal for these kids. And if we don't help them, I mean, we might as well not help anybody.
Well, I'm all for helping kids, but it's like, Mike, we're like doing double standard here. We put it over to the donation committee, and then all of a sudden now it's coming back to us? So why even put it back to the donation committee? I mean, we might as well just keep it.
What's up, Tara?
Go ahead, Tara.
Okay, so here's the thing, we put our request in on the 15th. Right? And we didn't go through Aisha because we didn't know that was a thing. So we apologize for that. Otherwise, guess what? You get everything now, Aisha. Everybody else gets to be relieved because I ain't CCing nobody anymore, okay? But here's the deal. We submitted that on the 15th. Did the donation committee get our request?
That I didn't see.
So ours didn't even get heard this month, even though we met the timeline. So this is what I'm like.
Where did this occur?
And the thing is you just told us like, hey, you gotta be more advanced notice, and we love to do advanced notice, but we understand things come up, and now it's okay?
But that's the question. We're discussing this. Nobody approved this. Nobody approved this at all. We're just discussing it.
But you're
That's all we're doing.
discussing it on the basis that it's time sensitive, which we were just told that
I'll
we
be clear
couldn't.
again. I'll be clear again. We didn't approve nothing yet, so I'm just gonna be clear at that. That's what I'm gonna say. We didn't approve anything. We're discussing it.
Well, council, I mean,
Double standards.
do we,
Well, I wanna move on these requests because of for our kids, and, I mean, the community councils do have budgets, and they do give us their community event calendar, they do fund it, and I mean, these kids don't have any other resources but us, so I wanna move on these.
You do not. Budget.
All right.
If I may, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
So what was the whole reasoning of moving this over to the donation committee if it's still coming back to us? And I understand it's time sensitive and I love children too, but I mean, it's like we tell one no and tell them they gotta get stuff in, and then we turn around and say, oh no, this is time sensitive. So I just don't get it, and I'm all for helping kids. But it's like, what are we supposed to do here? We got Natowash Community Council here that has a request in too. Where is it? I mean, I never seen it. So I guess I need clarification on why we put all these donation requests into the donation committee. And if that's the way it's gonna be, anybody denied comes back to us then? I guess that's the clarification I need.
Okay, I'm gonna clarify that. Okay, if a donation comes in and it fits the donation committee, it goes through there. If it doesn't fit the donation committee, it comes back to us to look for other sources for it. That's what the clarification is, Andy.
Well, let's find other sources then, in that,
That's fine.
let's not, I
That's
just,
fine.
but see, now you're adding to the whole thing that wasn't clear to begin with. Without no clear procedures, I guess, I don't know where anything sits right now.
So no, I just explained it. I explained that the bottleneck is going to Aisha. Aisha, whether it goes to donation committee, they can do it, she goes back to them. If behavioral health can help them, they can help them. If some of the culture can help them, they help them. That's basically the whole procedures that they have to.
Procedure themselves. So, I mean, somewhere there's no communication again. And that, and that's screwing up the whole donation thing.
But they did know. We met with the community councils and they did know.
But here's one thing is that those are individual requests.
Yes, exactly.
And that, I think, is a different subject. I know we were met, so we didn't have a procedure because that's what we were told, so we CC'd God and everybody, and then we still haven't heard anything. So that was kind of our question, right, in our report. But here's one thing that we're gonna ask, because this comes up at our meeting all the time. And we're trying to work hard for kids. We're out there doing what we can for kids. This isn't to be mean, this isn't to be spiteful against anybody, because we think that those 3 kids should be funded. They should be funded. You guys should do the right thing and make sure our kids have the help they need. But when we do something as a Natowash Community Council, we serve and keep in mind 550 kids with that same $1,000. And that's not fair. So when you guys are doing your policies, can you please take that into consideration, okay? Because we want to fund them. We get individual private requests. We don't know what Monoman is, but NCC just took what little funding we had, and we got boys that are going to basketball. They're going down to the Timberwolves, right? That should be funded too. NCC funded them. But please take that into consideration of the number of kids that we serve with the same amount as everybody else, and how many times less. When 3 kids get served with the same $1,000 that we get served with one time a year.
Already, just to be fair, which I know is fair, I'm gonna pull this one off for the donations, but yeah, I'll kick in 500 of my own dollars, so. And Mike will help it too, so.
So will I, Henry. So, and the school one, I don't know, when does that one go on then?
March 17th.
Oh, well, that has time to go to the committee, don't it?
Actually, yeah, it can be circulated through, email.
So can we send that one to the committee? Because it's not till March 17th.
You should, huh?
I can send it.
When are you meeting?
Mikel can send it out to everybody.
We'll get them.
We finished with that one, but we'll do this Monoman one second. We're talking about this one now, there?
Yeah, she said she'll send it out, so.
Okay.
That we're gonna do?
The donations.
Okay, so we took care of Henry's one. What about,
The Monoman one? She's gonna send it out, right? This one?
Yeah,
The second one?
okay,
to the donations.
To the donation.
okay, thank you. All right, Hank.
This is what we have to help.
Okay with that? No? Why?
Big Rich, I think we solved this, so, but first of all, I want to say I apologize for the communication. I know that we're growing again and growing pains of a donation committee, and, these requests that come to us like the day of or day before, puts a lot of pressure on us, and, like I said, the processes are just being ironed out right now, and I think that we have to, we're really looking at trying to help everyone that we can out there, especially like what District 2 said about the children, so it's important that our kids do get served, so, but I want to say a big wish for that, so thank you.
I would like to request a clarification for the record. The individual request was withdrawn, and the Monoman request high school request was referred back to committee?
Yep, referred back to committee.
Yes.
Yeah, big wish. All right, next up is the TIWIA donation request.
What's in the packet? That's too high.
I think this one can go to donation too.
Is that a donation committee one?
See that one. Well, we'll send everything back to committee.
But is there time?
Oh, hold on,
Cause this one
That's
is
it.
by March 15th, don't they?
You got anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. By March 15th.
Which on this, and the individual too.
Should we refer back to the committee, Mike?
I think so. Refer everything back.
Okay, we'll refer this back to the donation committee too. I know there's different, information on there, so, but this can go back to the donation committee too, so. All right, next up is the consent agenda. We have a few things on here and I'll go, Alex, contract for, cultural contract, 2023 TIP Safety Fund Grant Application, Child Care Variance Request, White Earth Family Treatment Remodel, Outpatient Facility, Notice of Award, the White Earth Transit Facility, EAPC Contract Resolution, Monoman Homeless Shelter, Contract Amendment, contract for award for Gordon Construction, Food Distribution, Wall and Water and Resolution, Natowash Health Center, contracting change order, White Earth Family Treatment Remodel, Jack Hall Men's Acute Care Phase 2 change order, Natowash EMP Kitchen Remodel change order, White Earth Concord Kitchen Remodel contracts, Marco Contract Agreement Upgrade Equipment, FHPAP 2024-25 application resolution, the Energy Assistance Grant and resolution that we tabled the ICW contract for individual and resolution. The RBIC the RBIC support letter we tabled.
Right now we moved to executive session.
Yeah, we moved that to executive session. The 23 angling, rough fish, bow fishing, seasons resolution, North Twin Lake Road and Blair Road paving contract change order. That's it?
Mr. Chairman, it was the Bush Hill property affidavit that needed to be approved for signature.
Okay, the Bush Shell.
No, table for
You want to table that for executive?
Yeah, we'll table that for executive too, so. And then, of course, the ones that we said earlier on Jacob's, the Travel Calls Library, that'll be in this packet too for the fiscal agent for $10,000 for the library, the Travel Calls Library. Dawn, do we have anything else here besides Jacob's?
That's it for now,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Michael Rock.
With the changes.
With the changes. Second by Henry. All in favor?
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate everyone for coming today, and we had a lot of information, a lot of good, dialect going on today, and I think it's important that we as a tribal council as transparent and, that what we're doing you know, how we're going to move forward with our nation, our beautiful nation, that we're making life easier and better for all band members, so. But I just want to say thank you. And before we go into executive session, we'll go on break, and then I'll motion for executive session, so.
Elders Commission question.
You wanna do it now or you wanna wait?
Yes, please.
Okay, Missy has an Elders Commission question.
Council. Oh,
Council, not commission. I was just, when I made the bus report, a question came back in. Now, what is the council's okay or not okay on the bus? Because I got a message, Mike LaRock said the bus ain't a done issue yet. So I'm kind of.
I'll explain that.
Michael, is there?
Hey Missy, so we did get an update from our Public Works Department about the order. It's looking good, but that's what they said last time, so we didn't want to tell you guys anything, get your hopes up, so I'll have Curtis reach out to Bowman again and get an update and probably fill you guys in, but like I said, we don't want to say, oh yeah, it's looking really good, ready to go. We don't know, like that's what they told us last time. They said, okay, it's ready to go, and it wasn't, so.
Okay, but is the funding, is there or is there?
Yes, the funding's there.
Okay, that's.
There's just gotta be some, there's some clarification from the council. We need clarification from the council on you're gonna get the bus, but, because you guys have been having problems getting a CDL driver, been problems getting that kind of stuff, we just wanna work with you guys on that. That's what kind of my statement was, is that we need to work together on how we're gonna do this, because in the past, you guys, when you needed to go on trips, they usually used the casino, and the casino would provide a bus and a driver, which is very convenient for you guys. It is. So we have to take a look at that and stuff like that, how we're gonna collaborate together on this stuff like this. We're not gonna come to the table to tell you what to do, we're just gonna support your decisions. Miigwech.
And correct, and we appreciate that, but my understanding is the bus is gonna be a 12-person bus, so we aren't going to need a CDL.
That's something that you guys, I don't know anything about that, so we'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you for the answers.
Yeah, we're gonna go on break before we, unless council wants a motion to. Tony, do you think we should go into executive session before we go out? You do?
Let's take a break. Either or. Through it when you come back. But yeah.
What we'll do is we'll motion to go on executive, but then go on break. Okay, motion to go into executive session. Motion by Eugene. Second by Mike, all in favor? Yeah, we have a quorum. Yeah, we're good. We're going on break now.